Hello, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy, Walden University. And in this video, I'll be going over one of the posters that I presented in the Heart and Diabetes Conference recently. This was on gender differences in the association between exposure to perfluoral alkyl substances and mortality, overall mortality, between the years 2005 to 2010 NHANES study. So NHANES stands for National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. If you go through and look in the introduction, I wanted to zoom in and try to read some of these introduction bullet points. So despite limited government regulation, PFAS are a group of chemicals that are environmentally persistent. These are known as forever chemicals and have been shown to cause health conditions because of the fact that they're so stable in the environment. A lot of times, stable is not always good. It may be wonderful for industrial purposes, but not very good for the environment. So one study can be used to advocate for stricter governmental regulation restricting these hazards. So this figure actually goes over some of the PFAS sites and some of the different sites in there. Various types, there's some, actually this is from some of the sources. It's mislabeled here, but figure 2, that's what it is. It's geographic distribution of forever chemicals. And it could be anywhere from upholstery to clothing, face mask, mattress protectors. So these are ubiquitous, found everywhere. The purpose of this current study was to actually explore about 5 years, an average of 10-year mortality. Then what are the materials and methods that we looked at was the NHANES survey, and it's greater than or equal to 20 years from the 2005 to 2010 NHANES, and then of course follow up through 2015 due to the linked mortality files that we have available. Solid phase extraction high performance liquid chromatography was used to measure PFAS. There were other PFASs that were included within the NHANES study: the perfluorobutyrate, perfluorooctane, sulfamide, and then perfluorodecanoate. There's so many perfluoroalkyl sulfates. There's so many agents. And what is interesting and important is that these are biomonitored through the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. So a lot of times finding proper data sets to try to understand environmental effects can be difficult. So right here is the health consequences: kidney and testicular cancer, weakened immune system, endocrine disruption, fertility problems, and decreased birth weight. So if you take a look at some of the areas and organs that are affected, delayed mammary gland development, reduced response to vaccines, which is extremely important during the pandemic, lower birth weight, and then thyroid disease, increased cholesterol levels, liver damage, kidneys cancer, and testicular cancer. And that's not even all the effects that I'm reading out. There's multiple effects. So these are all reasons why increased mortality would be what is going on. So when we looked at among males, the hazard ratio for various forever chemicals, there was certain medical and demographic risk factors which were important to include. So when that was found, let me and so when that was found, in conclusion, concentration of certain increased PFAs or PFAS are associated with overall mortality, with gender modifying the effect. Um, when I mean gender modifying the effect, this was only found among males. PFAS exposure is geographically higher in concentrations in urban areas and is associated with proximity to industry. So this would be a good follow-up study. Governmental regulation and public awareness will decrease the impact of this environmental hazard. And this looks at some of the social connection, psychological biomarkers, medical advance and compliance, morbidity, mortality. And a lot of that is pathological, lifestyle, and medication adherence. So these can be used to make a better policy. You could individually and also group level data can be found in county health rankings. That is also pertaining to geospatial data. There might be some overlap between particulate matter and some of these PFAS chemicals. Now, just to sum this all up, it's important to note that PFAS chemicals, there are quite a few, and it's really important if you're making predictive models, and I've actually written about this. When you're creating predictive models, then a lot of times the risk factors to model them in conjunction with each other may be more important than controlling for confounders, or just as important, should I say. So these are chemical confounders, which pertain to what I looked at least was confounding variables. Now, some people might look at some of the PFAS and overall mortality as kind of a risk factor type of model. So those are the two types, and I hope this has given you some insight over the functionality of perfluoral alkosulfate.